It's not just the military he's trying to starve out. Trump is also doing his best to cut off SNAP benefits for civilians. I think I figured out why Trump hates SNAP so much. I think it's because his fingers are too small to do it.
Donald Trump intends to take America backward to the failed policies of the past. He has no intention to grow our middle class. He's only interested in making life better for himself and people like himself.
When late-night sarcasm meets political precision, Jimmy Kimmel and Kamala Harris unleash a roast so devastating it turns Trump into a walking cautionary tale. This isn't ordinary political theater. It's meticulously engineered chaos. Every punchline lands with surgical accuracy, leaving viewers pausing, rewinding, and questioning how anyone could survive the first wave of comedic destruction.
This was not a good night for the president. Everything he touched was a loser. Trump hasn't been this embarrassed since he found out there was a Donald Trump Jr. If you're tired of all the losing, fear not. He's got an excuse. In fact, he's got two of them. He wrote,
With the selection of his running mate this week, Donald Trump is also trying to distract people. He wants to direct attention away from his record and his Project 2025 plan to suggest that he and his running mate are going to prioritize the middle class.
How do you roast a man who treats coherence as optional? It's like watching someone claim to captain a ship while drilling holes in the hull and calling it ventilation. At this point, Kimmel doesn't even need to try. He just narrates the chaos, letting Trump's own clown car decision-making provide the punchlines.
he promised to lower grocery prices on day one. And of course he hasn't, but he is focused on other more important stuff like magnets.
Magnets. If China refused to give magnets because they have a monopoly on magnets because they were allowed to happen over a 32-year period, there wouldn't be a car made in the entire world. There wouldn't be a radio. There wouldn't be a television. There wouldn't be internet. There wouldn't be anything because magnets are such a part. Now, nobody knows what magnets are.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Kamala Harris steps in with the calm, surgical composure of someone who has spent years cross-examining nonsense, now facing the ultimate master of it. She smiles that lawyer smile that says, "I already know the answer. I just want to watch you embarrass yourself." She describes Trump as a man who walks in, sets fire to the curtains, and then points at the smoke, saying, "You're welcome."
The enemy within. Here in Chicago, I'm told that the helicopters that were descending on an American city were Blackhawks.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what Blackhawks were designed to do?
War, yeah.
War. So I think everyone can draw their conclusions just based on the facts and see that he has definitely decided he's going to use the power of the federal government to attack American cities and the people who live there.
Here's the kicker. Kimmel says trying to follow Trump's thoughts is like being handed a map drawn by a raccoon with a crayon during an earthquake. Every sentence starts in one neighborhood and wakes up 3 states away with no explanation. One moment he's proclaiming how historically amazing he is. The next, he's blaming the nearest object for something he clearly just did.
They are. Trump pulled a fast one in the middle of the night last night. He gave get-out-of-jail-free cards to all his cronies who were mixed up in the fake elector scheme. He pardoned 77 people last night, including Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, the entire staff of the Four Seasons Total Landscaping, and the dildo shop next door. They announced the pardons in the middle of the night because, if they do this during the daylight, Rudy's skin burns.
If a lamp flickered in the room, Trump would call it disloyal. This is a man who could trip over a flat surface and then go on television to claim the ground conspired against him. Kimmel imagines his inner monologue as a never-ending loop of "You're incredible," playing over elevator music.
He wrote, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the 2 reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. Now, if Republicans had won and he wasn't on the ballot, would he take credit for that? Oh, yes, he definitely would, but he lost. And then he posted this. He posted, "And so it begins," which was either a response to Mamdani winning the mayoral race or he just sat down on the toilet.
Imagine the chaos. Kamala Harris looks into the metaphorical camera and explains that Trump treats facts the way toddlers treat vegetables. Push them away, make faces, and demand dessert. To him, reality isn't something you respect, it's a suggestion to overrule. Give him a briefing with clear, organized, bullet-pointed truths, and he'd skim it like a menu, ordering pure delusion a la carte. When consequences appear, he acts shocked, as if microwaving metal offended him. The man could ignore a fire alarm and call smoke fake news.
And the one thing I can report back from the field, if you will, is that people are exhausted by that old, tired playbook of Donald Trump's. They really are. And even if they voted for him in the past, there are a lot of folks who are just saying, you know, enough of the rhetoric that's about trying to divide the country and have Americans point their fingers at each other.
Now here, where it gets ridiculous. Kimmel imagines Trump holding cue cards and freestyling anyway, turning prepared notes into verbal spaghetti. Every time he speaks, punctuation files complaints. His speeches sound like someone improvising their way out of a parking ticket with a thesaurus and a sugar rush. Confidence alone would make him Einstein with a spray tan. Kamala compares his leadership to driving blindfolded from the back seat while yelling at the GPS. Debate prep looks like arguing with a mirror until it gives up. Hand gestures conduct an invisible orchestra of confusion, performance without content, fireworks with no explosions.
The big football guy. Joe Montanibed made an appearance at the Commanders game yesterday where he received a decidedly negative reception from the crowd.
Please welcome the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and Secretary of War, D.K. Bell, and the ruling President in the seas of our United States military.
It's like a whole stadium full of Melanias.
Picture the courtroom energy. Kamala says under cross-examination, Trump treats every question like a personal attack and every fact like a rumor. A simple "where were you?" becomes a 45-minute detour through unrelated boasts. His defense is confusion, volume, and hope people tire and leave. He self-impeaches mid-sentence, claiming victories only he understands. Financial logic, casino-worthy nonsense. Management style. A smoke machine in a small room, foggy, chaotic, everyone coughing. Real leaders build teams. He flips channels and calls it strategy. When things go wrong, blame flies to staff, weather, or 3-year-old events. Accountability, a word for amateurs.
The President of the United States declared war on cities run by Democrats in this country.
Well, let's just look at the facts and then draw your own conclusion. He is deploying U.S. military to the streets of America. A military that has been set up, stood up, and trained, for the most part, to do the work of fighting against adversaries, fighting against enemies, and deploying them on the streets of America as though, you know, and he said it.
Kimmel imagines Trump at a rally, basking like a sun-soaked houseplant, treating every clap as proof he's the universe's main character. The events feel like live-action comment sections, with monologues shaped like spilled alphabet soup, roads segue into dishwashers, all framed as strong leadership. Kamala highlights his need for praise, insisting every room must give a standing ovation like it's constitutional law. Kimmel jokes about diagramming his sentences. Subject, verb, object, ingredients vanish mid-thought. Each statement starts with promise and ends in self-congratulatory cul-de-sacs. Grammar doesn't fail, it quietly relocates after the third interruption. The chaos is mesmerizing.
Trump has been desperately trying to convince anyone who'll listen that Democrats are responsible for the shutdown and that it has nothing to do with him trying to hide the Epstein files. The gaslighting has reached a fever pitch as Trump cuts off the supply of food to children, families, senior citizens, etc. But Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, wants you to know, just because they're cutting off your food and want to cut off your health insurance, that doesn't mean they don't care.
Kamala likens Trump's law and order approach to someone who follows rules only if they apply to others, treating legal boundaries like erasable pencil lines. Inconvenience triggers smirks and improvisation. He strolls into court, sits in the judge's chair, and declares the case invalid. Diplomacy, she notes, resembles 3 a.m. emoji texts to world leaders, executed with the subtlety of a marching band in a library. Kimmel imagines him squinting at a teleprompter, torn between prepared text and freeform chaos. Every impulsive comment threatens alliances, turning negotiations into spectacles where volume masquerades as strength and confusion as leverage. International relations become a talent show.
You can see it spelled out in his economic agenda. An agenda that gives trillions of dollars in tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations, while raising taxes on the middle class by almost $4,000 a year, slashing overtime pay, throwing tens of millions of Americans off of health care and cutting Social Security and Medicare. In sum, his agenda would weaken the economy and hurt working people and the middle class.
Kimmel compares Trump's attention span to unstable Wi-Fi, strong for seconds, then gone. Advisors brief him on critical issues, and suddenly he's bragging about ratings from years ago. Every serious meeting, Kimmel quips, needs a progress bar and buffering symbol. Kamala highlights Trump's refusal to admit mistakes. Even if he set his tie on fire, he'd blame the mirror. Kimmel imagines him narrating life like a dramatic movie trailer, turning minor events into epic triumphs and routine tasks into heroic sagas. Theme music swells every time he straightens a tie, with reality as a supporting character in his self-directed biopic.
Has been working hard to beat Trump at his own game. He's been posting these funny things like this, showing Trump as a baby, and it does seem to be getting under the president's skin.
He doesn't have what it takes, I tell you that. Slimy guy. He's a slimy one. Maybe that should be his nickname. Slimy Newscomb, right?
Oh, man, he can't even come up with a decent nickname anymore.
Kamala dissects Trump's talent for turning anyone who doesn't applaud into a villain. Living in a world where winning isn't enough, others must also lose dramatically. She likens minor disagreements to full-blown courtroom dramas starring only his ego. Kimmel paints post-presidency appearances as a greatest hits tour, with Trump repeating old lines like they're chart toppers, mistaking noise for impact and chaos for charisma. Convinced that messiness equals importance, he clings desperately to a spotlight he never truly commanded. Kamala's calm, satisfied smile frames the finale, an overhyped act exiting the stage, leaving the audience to see through smoke, mirrors, and endless self-importance.